Joey, welcome back. Year 10. I'll say that again. Year 10 of having you in Cardiff. How do you feel to be back?
Feels great as always. Very excited to be back. I've always been very fortunate to play for this club, so really excited about another year.
Is it a case that it's a no-brainer every year for you to come back, or are we getting to a point now where you're thinking, okay, it can't be too many more years?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I approached this season thinking that it might have been my last season. I think I maybe anticipated not feeling as good as I did, but ironically, I ended up. I think it was, I felt the best I had since coming back to Cardiff since COVID. So, kind of changed my mind, and I just feel like I still have a lot left in the tank. I still love, playing for this team and coming to the rink every day. I love being around the guys. So, just it's a no-brainer to come back to this team, and for another year. Yeah, it was at the end of the year, definitely a no-brainer.
Well, you mentioned it being a good year. You put up 70 points. You were nearly a point a game. What keeps the fire burning?
I don't know. It's just I love the game. It's always been a passion of mine ever since I was younger. I love the desire to win, especially on this team. Those expectations are high, and that's something that I love, and it's something that really motivates me. I've always put in a lot of work to keep myself healthy and feeling good, so that I could play this game not only as long as I could, but at the top of my level, and that's another thing that drives me as well.
Let's look back at the Devils year, and we'll start with that playoff final. It was an incredible game. How do you look back on it?
Yeah, that playoff final was one of the craziest games I've ever been a part of, for sure. Definitely an exciting game from a fan's perspective. It was. I felt like it was a cruel way to lose, to be honest. A lot of emotions. In overtime, first of all, coming back from 3 goals was exciting, and I felt like we believed and we were going to win the game after doing that. And then you go into overtime and you think they score, and then you have life again, and then you score, and you think it's over, and kind of a long season of a lot of adversities kind of all, kind of hit you in that moment, and you feel emotional, and then you realize goals called back and you've got to carry on playing. So very, it was an emotional roller coaster ride. It was pretty devastating, to be honest, to lose that one. I thought we deserved a better fate.
I mean, it's the second time, weirdly, that you've played in a double overtime playoff final and unfortunately come out on the wrong side of it. Did you take anything from that game in 2017 when you were in overtime?
Yeah, definitely. I remember that game pretty vividly as well. I remember being very fatigued and cramping. A lot of us were. So I think this time I think I made an effort to try to hydrate and take salts and everything, between the intermissions. But apart from the game, I think that's one of those games where you just have to try to stay the course. You have to just hopefully you can take advantage of an opportunity that arises. Hopefully the other team's fatigued. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that, and in those games it can go either way, and just didn't fall for us.
For the season as a whole for the Devils, it kind of felt like a year of what ifs, and despite winning a trophy, I think it's fair to say there was more maybe that this team could have achieved last year. Is that the way you look at it?
Yeah, reflecting on the season, I think highs and lows, maybe a few more lows, but very close to it being the other way. We were in 2 finals. If you even look at that Challenge Cup final, I even thought that game we came out pretty strong. We just weren't able to capitalize on our chances, and then Belfast. Credit to them, they're a good team. They they rely on their systems, and they're all pretty bought in. They ended up capitalizing on a few of our breakdowns, and that was the game, but I don't know if that score reflected the entire game. And then obviously the playoff final, that game could have gone either way. So we're in 2 finals there, and then the regular season, if you look at the first half, we're sitting pretty, and then I think the injuries were relentless. They wouldn't stop, and I think we hung on as long as we could, but inevitably we fell off. So yeah, it's hard to look back on the season, and even though we were right there, it was difficult. Those were tough losses. We were so close to some trophies, but at the end of the day, we didn't get one. Fortunately, we won the Continental Cup, and that was big for the club. So proud of that.
Let's look ahead now. We'll move on to the coming months and to the season. First of all, your testimonial's coming up, and you must be delighted and excited to get friends and ex-teammates and all the guys involved, and it should be a great weekend.
Yeah, it's I'm definitely looking forward to it. I think as soon as May, I saw May 1st, it started to really hit me that it's coming up quickly, and obviously the excitement's building up. I'm grateful for the opportunity to have the testimonial. I'm so overwhelmed by all the support by the fans all season long with my events and everything. It's going to be a really special night, and all the planning is going really well. So just very excited.
Have you got a favourite of the videos that the players are sending in? We've had some great ones.
There's been some good ones. I think Joey Haddad probably raised the bar with that first video. The other guys were kind of scared after that and intimidated to make a video. That was pretty clever of him. I don't know if you saw Neil Francis just made one where he was holding a goat. I thought that was pretty funny. Pretty chill of the goat to just sit there too while he was speaking. But yeah, all of that. I mean, it's good fun, and I'm very fortunate to have friends and teammates like that who are willing to help me out and for the testimonial.
Let's look ahead to next season now, and there's been a big change at the top for the Devils. Paul Thompson comes in, and you're one of the guys who played against Tomo when he was in Sheffield. And first of all, how did you find out that he was coming to Cardiff? What was your reaction, and are you excited to work with him?
Yeah, when I came to Cardiff, he was obviously the head coach in Sheffield, and at the time they were the team to beat. So, you look at his resume, I think it speaks for itself. He's won a lot, and the thing that excites me is he's coached in this league on a team with high expectations and has had success, and I think that's really important because he understands the pressures and the grind. Because this league is unique. It's a slog. It's a 54-game playoffs, and if you're new to it, it could be shocking, and he's someone who's experienced it and had success in it, so I think that's really important.
What have you guys got to do differently next year compared to last year to kind of put you over the hump?
Well, I think a big part of it is staying healthy, which sometimes is out of our control, but that's a huge factor if you want to win the league. And then I think there's some other areas, I'm sure, a lot of it, this is up to management to, whether for personnel, roster, if any changes they want to make. But to be honest, I think we had a pretty good group. I would have really loved to see us be healthy throughout this year and see what we could have accomplished. But other than that, I think any changes will ultimately be up to, Thompson.
Joey, I rue the day that we don't do any of these anymore, but welcome back. It's lovely to have you back in Cardiff for year 10.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.